are now going to turn to our talking point tonight. What should particularly the riot victims make of the final surrender of the Gujarat minister there, Maya Kodnani, wanted certainly by the special investigative team for her role in the Naroda Patia riots. Okay, joining us on Talking Point tonight is Teesta Setalvad, joining us from Mumbai, and Narayan, Vyas, the BJP spokesperson, joining us from Ahmedabad. Good evening to both of you. Thanks very much for joining us here on India at 9. My first question to you, Mr. Vyas. Maya Kodnani, one of the most prominent faces of the BJP in Gujarat, absconding for months, today forced to surrender, forced to resign. Surely the BJP has much to introspect and much to be embarrassed about.
Well, I would say that the words themselves indicate that the judgment is written even before the trial is made.
Why do you say that?
Let us understand that she sought the anticipatory bail, and if somebody seeks the anticipatory bail and the application is not rejected, one is perfectly within one's own right to remain wherever one is. And therefore, no sooner the Honorable Court pronounced that her anticipatory bail application was rejected, she not only surrendered, but she also tendered her resignation, and which is absolutely in the same stroke forwarded by the Honorable Chief Minister to His Excellency the Governor. So where is the question of somebody trying to abscond or somebody trying to take run away from the
Mr.
legal course of action?
You seem to be forgetting that Maya Kodnani only appeared actually when she applied for bail there in the Gujarat High Court. She was absconding for weeks before that. But these are procedural matters. Let's just ask you, why did it take the Gujarat government so long to ask for her resignation? It's a question even asked in the court over there. After all, Maya Kodnani has been wanted for more than a year by the special investigative team there.
Well, I think she was going, see, this is, you should understand the difference between one being pronounced guilty and one being turned down as far as some legal
A minister in your government is wanted specifically. What the public prosecutor actually said is Maya Kodnani is wanted for provoking the rioters in at least 2 places there in Naroda. How much more taint can there be against a minister before that minister's resignation is accepted?
Well, are you trying to say that one is guilty even before the court pronounces?
Not at all, sir, but should she not have resigned and waited out for the judgment?
Let the law take its own course. She has been, as any individual, she had recourse, and she took that recourse as the fundamental rights available to her for legal remedy. And she sought the anticipatory bail, which has been turned down. And no sooner that happened, she has not only resigned, but she has surrendered also before
Mr. Vyas, the Gujarat High Court made a very important observation today, saying religious fanatics are no better than terrorists. Do you believe that's been uncalled for in the case of Maya Kodnani?
We fully respect the Honorable Court's verdict. Let me be very clear about that. And I would also further add to it that there is not a final, this is not a final word pronounced. If she has a recourse to move the higher court or seek the legal redressals through an appellate authority, that is her personal right.
Absolutely, and that right belongs to everyone, and including Maya Kodnani. I'll just like to get Teesta Setalvad in. You've heard what Narayan Vyas has been saying. Today's surrender, today's arrest, the fact that she's been absconding has all been made into technical details. How do you respond?
First of all, I'd request as much time as Mr. Vyas always gets on television. Secondly, I'd like to say that, there are 2 or 3 issues here. One issue is that, the obfuscation of the Gujarat government in the face of Mr. Vyas and Mr. Modi is obvious. For the last 7 years, we have been saying simply this, that registered FIRs against Mr. Maya Kodnani, against Jaideep Patel, and against 63 others who are administration persons, policemen, and ministers, including Jadeja, Ashok Bhatt, Zarafia, and even Narendra Modi. We are not saying per se that they are guilty. We are saying that enough evidence to suggest they are guilty. Let an FIR be registered and let a prosecution come. None of this was possible without the intervention of the Supreme Court. Now, I find it very interesting that the moment the SIT called Mrs. Kodnani a second time in January, for weeks she was absconding till she got her lawyers to put an anticipatory bail application and got anticipatory bail from a lower court. A Gujarat police could not find a minister in Ahmedabad or Gandhinagar because she was absconding. This is the hilarity of the situation. Secondly, I want to say today Mr. Modi was waxing eloquent on political issues. He did not have the decency to comment on what this means for his government and for the justice process. The issue here is that the Gujarat Carnage of 2002 had genocidal symptoms. There were people in the political class, people in the police force, and cabinet ministers, including Mr. Modi, who held a meeting on 27th of February, issues which need to be examined.
Teesta, let's stick to the facts.
Is doing everything to prevent an examination.
All right, let's stick to the facts as we know them. Mr. Narayan Vyas, would you like to respond at least to the comment, that it's not just Maya Kodnani, but other officials in the administration who should now be, whose resignation should now be looked at?
Well, let me first say that if anybody should argue in this case for or against, the list should be Teesta Setalvad, because she has taken extreme positions right from day one. For her, what she believes is a secularism, and what she doesn't is not a secularism. She has already taken positions on the extreme side. Let me complete.
Mr. Vyas, today it's the High Court which is saying the same. Today it's the High Court which is saying communal harmony should be the hallmark of any democracy.
Who doesn't agree with that? Who doesn't agree with that?
All right,
we fully respect the views of the Honorable Court.
All right, sir.
Nobody says no to that. But Teesta then doesn't know that there was a minister called Mohammad Surti who was found guilty of bomb blast and who has been pronounced the life imprisonment. Remained as a minister, and the Congress president who wanted him to go out of the ministry was sent out by the Congress.
Let's just stick to what we've seen there today. Teesta Setalvad, I do have to ask you though, I mean, what the Gujarat government, you were talking about the obfuscation of the Gujarat government, yet in the last year, we've certainly seen a lot of movement. Would you say there is a glimmer of hope for justice for the victims? We saw the police officer, the highest ranking police officer really to be convicted in such a case or to be arrested in such a case. There in the Gulbarg society, we saw the Bilkis Bano verdict come in as well. Would you say there is some reason to hope for all the people who died 7 years ago?
Yes, of course there's a reason to hope, which is why we are still fighting the cases both in the Supreme Court and the lower courts. Please let's remember that Mr. K.G. Eda, who was the investigating officer in the Gulbarg massacre case, and then was promoted by Mr. Modi's government to become DYSP and SP, was arrested by SIT, and he again got bail by a lower court. Now his bail is being challenged by the victims next week. So the issue is that it is because the Supreme Court has intervened, it is because the special investigation team, which has outside officers looking into the matter, that justice is nearing to be done. It's just a beginning. The issue for us is very simple. That a government that has public prosecutors who have allegiances to the VHP and the BJP. But Babu, Bajrangi and other accused get bail within 2 weeks and 2 months in Gujarat. Whereas the Godhra accused are in jail without bail for 7 years. This is the attitude of the Gujarat state towards justice. It's a partisan state, and it is using mobocracy instead of democracy.
Right. Teesta, we'll have to end it there, but thanks very mumuch to Teesta and Mr. Narayan Vyas for joining us. Clearly, Maya Kodnani and Mr. Patel now in the custody of the SIT. That's right, even activists having to admit that there does seem to be some movement forward.